Hello and welcome to this week's film show on Arts24. Today, the AI actress making Hollywood quake in its boots. I'm joined by our film critic, Emma Jones. Emma, you're just back from the Zurich Film Festival. It's in its 21st year, attracting more and more star power. But the biggest story this year was not about a human celebrity. Emma, who is Tilly Norwood?
Tilly Norwood is a British starlet and she is totally an AI creation. Indeed. So to give you some background on this, this was a story from the Zurich Summit. Now, this is the industry events of the festival. And in a panel discussion, Aline van der Velden, now she runs a London AI talent studio, Sequoia, she spoke about this AI actress creation, Tilly Norwood, supposedly a classic girl next door type, and how big talent agencies were on the verge of signing her and they would be making an announcement at some point. Now, this has prompted a huge backlash in Hollywood. Actress Emily Blunt told a podcast, "Good Lord, we're screwed. This is really, really scary. Come on, agencies, don't do that. Please stop." Now, the powerful SAG-AFTRA union, you probably know that name, also condemned it, saying it's a character trained on the work of countless professional performers without permission or compensation. It creates the problem of using stolen performances to put actors out of work.
Okay, well, Tilly Norwood has social media accounts and in the summer announced she'd starred in her first role, a comedy sketch about AI. Let's take a look at that.
Let's get to know each other and thanks for watching.
Now, let's hear from Norwood's creator, Van der Velden, who has defended Tilly Norwood, saying, "I see AI as not as a replacement for people, but as a new tool, a new paintbrush." Now, after this launch, such a big story out of Zurich, whether these major talent agencies are indeed going to dare to sign Tilly Norwood, I don't know. But Eve, I do know that this is not the last we've heard about AI movie stars at all. I think that this story is about to break, really.
And maybe they're going to be replacing us too. Emma, onto the human stars then at Zurich, and the OG gladiator Russell Crowe was there to collect a Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yes, he was. And this is an award that Zurich hands out necessarily every year. So Russell Crowe joined the likes of Harrison Ford and Michael Keaton to get that prize, rewarding lifelong outstanding career achievement. Now, I don't think he's getting it for his singing in 2012's Les Miserables. But seriously, if you think about films like Gladiator, A Beautiful Mind, LA Story, I think this is a deserved award for Russell Crowe. And accepting it, he spoke a little bit about what motivates him as an actor.
I take your expectations as an audience with me because I want to touch your heart. I want to open your mind. I want to thrill you. I want to scare you. I want to confront you. I want to make you cry. And I want to make you laugh.
Talking about scaring, this year Russell Crowe stars in the film Nuremberg by James Vanderbilt. Now, this should be an award season favourite. It's a thriller about the Nuremberg Nazi trials, and Crowe plays Hermann Göring, and he plays him as he was supposedly in real life, as an incredibly charismatic man. Rami Malek stars opposite him as a US Army psychiatrist, and they engage in a battle of the mind with each other.
Okay, well, let's take a look at that. This is from Nuremberg.
I will have, as you say, my day in court.
I know more about this man than anyone else on the planet. You're walking into a trap.
You want to know why it happened here? Because people let it happen.
I'm going to put Hermann Göring on the stand, and I'm going to make him tell the world what he did.
Welcome to Nuremberg.
Okay, that was a clip from Nuremberg, and we're going to move on to Colin Farrell now, who received a prestigious Golden Icon Award. It's been previously given to Kate Winslet, Diane Keaton and Michael Douglas. Now, he stars in German filmmaker Edward Berger's new film. Now, Berger is the director of Conclave and All Quiet on the Western Front, but Ballad of a Small Player, apparently falls a bit short, doesn't it?
Yes, I mean, he's a great director, but this particular film is based on a 2014 novel and it's set in Macau. And there's something about its cinematography that's reminiscent, in the colours of Wong Kar-wai's work, for example. Farrell plays a hopeless gambler who's also impersonating an aristocrat. Now, his performance itself has earned a lot of praise, but the script itself, the movie, critics feel is lacking a certain something. However, Colin Farrell was his usual charming self when he stepped on the green carpet at the Zurich Film Festival, and he talked to me about why he wanted to do the film.
Patrick Melrose was the first thing I saw that Edward had directed, and then obviously I saw All Quiet and I saw Conclave, and I just loved his work, love his work. And then he had this script that Rowan Jaffe wrote based on Lawrence Fishburne's novel, and it was just a really beautiful, a turns moving and an aggressive kind of look at a certain aspect of one man's life.
He is always so charming in interviews, and
He's
Colin Farrell. Who else did you meet at the festival, Emma?
Well, interestingly, it's Dakota Johnson. She opened the actual festival with the film Splitsville by Michelangelo Covino. Now, this is a story of a couple who try an open marriage, meaning that alongside Materialist this year, I think Dakota Johnson is ruling stories about relationships. Also at the festival, 2 British films about grief and birds. Now, to explain, Claire Foy of The Crown fame came to Zurich with the film H is for Hawk by Philippa Lowthorpe, in which Foy stars. Now, this is an adaptation of the prize-winning British memoir by Helen Macdonald of how training a female goshawk got the family through the grief of losing their father suddenly to a heart attack. Now, then Benedict Cumberbatch also came to the festival. Now, he's in Dylan Southern's new film, The Thing with Feathers. This is again based upon a novel, and it's the story of a man whose wife dies suddenly, and grief appears to him as a large crow voiced by the actor David Thewlis. Now, the crow in the film is animatronic, not CGI or AI generated, as Cumberbatch explained to me.
We felt we'd be cheating the audience, and the idea of this thing being a real physical entity in the room. And of course there are tiny bits of augmentation, but we did crash people through a ceiling of a set. We did flood it with water. We did have a man walking around on stilts in a pyrotechnic, I can't remember the right word, but I went to Oasis last night, so my brain's a bit frazzled. But a whole suit with an animatronic head.
Love that, love that.
Went to Oasis last night. I absolutely love that. And the reason why he went to Oasis is, in fact, because Dylan Southern told me that he was going to be directing a documentary about the Oasis reunion tour.
Wow, okay, that's a good tip. Well, thanks for that roundup of Zurich. We're going to move on now to a big release here in France this week, and it's Palme d'Or winner It Was Just an Accident. Now, not only is the film by one of Iran's greatest filmmakers, Jafar Panahi, it won the Cannes top prize, and it's also France's selection for this year's Oscars. What did you think of it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously an outstanding movie. It Was Just an Accident lingers somewhere in a space between thriller, farce and nightmare. Now, the idea for the film came to the director when he was last in prison by the Iranian regime. It's the story of a man played by Ebrahim Aziz, who, after having a car accident, he thinks he recognises one of the guards who tortured him in prison. So he collects some of his fellow former detainees. They kidnap the supposed torturer. And the question is, what do they do next?
What indeed. Now let's see some of the film and hear from Jafar Panahi, who I interviewed about the film a little earlier on, and he talked about what it was like, the conditions filming in Iran.
We know how to stay safe now. We need to take constant precautions to make sure we can complete our films. It's not easy. I've learned how to do it over time. For example, the first time I made a film with Mohammad Rasulov, The authorities arrived and threw us in jail. That was because we didn't have enough experience.
آدم ربایی جرم کمی نیست. اونم یه مأمور اطلاعاتی. اقبال پا قشنگه. یادتون من؟
So this is a 90-minute lesson, I'd say, in crisp scripting, macabre humour and resourceful filmmaking, as well as a total moral dilemma. Namely, what would you do to your torturer if you could make them pay? And so good he's finally able to travel to promote his films. And I do wonder, with that in mind, whether the Oscar might be his this year.
Maybe. You can watch the full interview I did with him on France 24's website, france24.com. Now, before we go, we're going to go back to Colin Farrell.
Of course.
Not because he's our favourite or anything, but he is one half of another major international release in France this week. He stars with Margot Robbie in A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey, and that is by the Korean filmmaker Kogonada. What are your thoughts on this?
Right, well, this film actually was on the blacklist of so-called hot Hollywood scripts for some time. Now it's been made to kind of universal critical derision, I'm afraid. And the only kind of comfort I really have for Colin Farrell and Margot Robbie in the movie is, like, remember Wild Mountain Thyme, starring Emily Blunt and Jamie Dornan? It became an instant classic because people wanted to watch it in order to kind of hate it, but sort of love it at the same time. So that's the best I can offer them, really. So the story is both Colin Farrell, Margot Robbie's characters are invited to a wedding. They end up in a hire car with magical GPS. Thanks to this, they are taken through some key scenes from their past in order to understand their present and then hopefully to be able to get together in the future. So there we go.
OK, all right. Well, it does sound totally weird. Thank you so much for joining us, Emma. We're going to leave you now with a look at A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey. That brings us to the end of this week's film show. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
This is unbelievable.
I think that's the entrance to my high school. Wait.
What?
You know, high school.
It's okay. It's okay.
Said forever.